For those who don't know me, I coach tech leaders on executive presence and influence. I'm also a psychologist, which makes me easier to understand the blind spots that you cannot see in your own presentations, in your own influence. I have also 20 years of experience in people development. I was head of HR in 3 companies, and I've been a consultant since 2017, and an expert on tech minds. You can check that all on my LinkedIn profile, super easy to find. So today, what is our agenda today? So for those who are not opening their cameras, it's going to be important for you to do so, because the first thing I'm going to talk a little bit about how you set your mindset to connection mode. Then we are going to draft individually an objective and value-driven introduction to be used in networking events, and then actually network and speak with each other to get feedback from this intro and actually practice this kind of networking, this kind of intro. What is the roadmap? First, I've already asked you to put your names and challenges about networking. Then I'm going to talk about mindset for strategic networking. I'm going to introduce you to the AIM framework, adapt to networking situations. Then you have this individual activity to create your intro. Then we're going to work in pairs or mini groups to have this feedback on your intro. Then a round 2, where you're going to actually be able to ask questions, make your intro, ask questions, engage with that person, and actually deliver a CTA, a call to action that will actually get results. The call to action, you will see, it's sometimes the missing piece on your networking strategy if you have one. And at the end, I want a big group. I'll put everyone together in the big group, and everyone will be able to introduce themselves after working on your intros and explain what was the key takeaways. One of the biggest issues I see with networking is the fixed mindset for networking. What does that mean? Usually people say, I'm not good at talking to people, so I'm not going to be good at networking. People who are extroverted, they're natural at this, and I'll never be like that because that's not my personality. Networking, good and strategic networking, takes strategy. As I mentioned, you can be a very extroverted person and not have any result networking. Everyone knows you, but that doesn't convert into either partnerships or learning opportunities or even clients. Good connections come mainly from luck or having the right personality, is what I just said. And I only need to network when I want something. That's a very big mistake. Before the Web Summit, you can exchange messages with those who are on the app. And one person there just sent me a message to connect. And then I asked, okay, so why you want to connect? What is the purpose of this? And then this person said, oh, it's just because I actually, I'm going to be honest with you, I want clients. And I have an IT consulting that I do body shop. And if you know of something that needs, could you recommend this? And then I was, what? Why would I recommend you instead of someone else? I don't even know you. So if you're just networking, if your networking mindset is transactional, I need to get something out of this person, otherwise it's not worth talking to them, you're going to miss a lot of opportunities. One amazing opportunity here I had at Gildre, one of the speed networkings we did at Gildre was with Steven. He was not in the profile of my ideal client, but he wanted to connect with me to learn how it is to live in Lisbon. I said, okay, let's do that. So the conversation went so well that now he's doing an automation for me for free, just because he felt like I was a good person and he liked me. So you never know what can come out of this. And if you actually adopt a growth mindset and go to these events with an open mindset, thinking like a networking opportunity is like you having a bag of seeds, of different types of seeds. You will plant them. Some will grow into trees, some will grow into flowers, and some just won't grow. But you keep planting them, and you can spot the opportunity once you are open to make a real connection. So it's important to understand that you can learn these networking strategies, that you have to be intentional about your networking strategy. This is not chit chat. This is not small talk. You are going to present your business. You have an intention, but you don't want to be transactional. You're there to build meaningful relationships and provide mutual value. So instead of just thinking about the value that you want to get out of that connection, also think about the value that you can bring to that person. So what is the value that you can bring? I would like to stay with this thought. So about the aim. The AIM networking is a communication, the AIM framework is a communication framework that is used for, in my life, for everything. Basically, for everything, I use this. And I can now run this in my head whenever I'm going to talk to someone. But when I started using this framework, I really wrote it down so I could actually get an understanding of who am I talking to. So AIM stands for Audience, Intention, and Message. This is an exercise you're going to make to understand how you can bring value to this person and never miss and never get a blind spot on the feeling part. So that's when you're not transactional. That's when you want to make the person feel something by being connected with you. The last in-person event was at the CTO Craft Con in Berlin. And other coaches, after the conversations, when you were on the coffee part, I was always talking to someone. These people, they asked me how I could connect so deeply with those people over there. And how did I manage to have that many conversations with that many people? Of course, there was a pre-networking strategy. That's not our goal today, but there is. Networking is not just about the moment. But when you are there, I want people to feel heard. That was my main goal. I wanted them to schedule a second conversation in me in case they wanted my professional help. But at that moment, I want them to feel heard. Because I'm a coach and I think that that's super important, and that's the connection I wanted to make with them. So about when you have the intentions very clear, it's easier to communicate with someone else. So you have to ask yourself, how can I offer value to these people? And what do I want them to feel and do as a result of the conversation? And that's where the call to action is going to fit. And also, you can meet many people there. You can have different intentions for different stakeholders. You can have an intention for the client, for other founders that you meet there, or even for potential partners. And this intention, when this intention changes, the message changes as well. After you understand who am I talking to, okay, now I'm going to focus on a potential partner. What can I offer of value to them? How do they want them to feel and do? So how I introduce myself in a way that's going to show that I can provide this value to them. What questions can I ask? Follow-up questions can I ask that will deepen my relationship? And the networking part here, the tweak that I made into the AIM framework is having a resource. If you have a resource to offer these people, you can end the conversation in a very good way, offering something and having an excuse for a second contact with that person. So let's check an example. I created here an example for founders because most of you here are founders, but you would have to make one of these for each people you interact with, for each of the main stakeholders you are possibly running across in that event. So if you go to if you are a CTO and you mainly go to a CTO events, you are probably going to find other CTOs there, like peers. When you say other founders, it could be your peers. So in this example, the intention is to exchange challenges and benchmark practice and schedule a peer follow-up. If you have a very short time with that person, it's an opportunity, like a speed networking opportunity. Focus on your intention to be to schedule a follow-up, to schedule a second meeting, instead of trying to solve everything there. It's just a rapport. You're building the connection with the person, so the second meeting feels like a good thing. Well, I would like to speak to that person again. That's your goal. The feeling, you want them to feel understood, supported, and energized. And you can offer resources to other founders, like an invitation for a founder group, a playbook, or a professional connection. Professional connections are very important. If you connect someone to someone else, they will never forget you. They will thank you for the rest of their lives. One of the other things that was amazing as a Brazilian, of course, at the Web Summit is going back and meeting a lot of the Brazilian founders there and understanding how this is so natural for Brazilians. When you know someone, you immediately think of who you can connect that person with that will benefit them. This is a great habit to build for networking, is having the habit to try to connect that person to someone else. On the Web Summit, for instance, my example was I met these other founders and I invited them for this event. So if you are a person who hosts events as well, you can do that. You can set an event for after the networking event you're going to be part of. And how do you build a message based on these items here? So your message is going to be your unique value proposition intro, the one that you always use, the one that it says what's your role, what the benefit you're bringing to the company, and to whom, and what is your special talent to do that. Then you're going to create this statement based on this intention and end with a call to action and a resource. Let's see an example. Hi, I'm Alex Martinez, founder of Blue Growth Robotics. So you have the title, this is the unique value proposition. We help manufacturing companies boost productivity through smart automation. Unique value proposition, what we do, to whom we do it, and how we do it in a unique way. And then the intention statement. This is going to change according to the audience. I'm especially interested in connecting with other founders who are in the middle of scaling up. Curious how you're navigating team growth and international expansion. So I want to exchange challenges with this person. I want them to help me with my scaling problems, because Alex wants them to help them with their scaling problems. And then you go to the call to action. If you're open, let's swap contacts. I can share a checklist we built for onboarding new team members at scale, and I'd love to hear what's working for you as you grow. How is your schedule next week for a call? This is where most people miss the mark. They stop here. Oh, I would love to know what you're working with. And then you don't get the person's contact and you don't set up a meeting. Even if the person at that moment doesn't have the time to set up a meeting with you, you get the contact, you put that on a networking app or a CRM that you use, or you send a WhatsApp note to yourself, whatever, but you have to follow up with that person and try to schedule a meeting. So far, so good? Questions about this? Okay, so let's move on to take a print from this because you're going to use this on the exercise. Okay. And then I would like to scan this because I created a prompt, an AI prompt for you to try to draft this intro based on these elements I created. So I'm going to give you 7 minutes. 7 minutes, not 10 minutes, 7 minutes. I'm going to give you 7 minutes to create this. When you finish, when you're done, please raise your hand using the feature here, or actually raise your hand